Oh, where am I? Okay, so back to it. I'm just going to get all of the text in here because there's still a lot of text that's kind of missing from the page. So I'm just adding all of the text and drawing or kind of dragging text boxes at the same time. And I'm doing it within the columns, within the rows, and I'm just clicking the outports or the overset icon, and I'm just click, hold, and drag, and just within those margins, within those columns, and within those rows, I'm just all I'm doing is just getting all of the text in there. So you see that this last column or text field or text block, there's no more outport. So that outport or that overset text icon is now disappeared because now all the text has been placed. Now, again, if I delete a text frame, now that our output or that overset text icon reappears is because now there is overset text, meaning there's more text in that text frame than I see. Just make sure that you're always making sure that it's to the column. Okay, so I have a bunch of text in here. I have all the text. Now I want to get some images in there. And just I want to double check that I made sure I did it in the right, the right layer. And I had accidentally don't have that one locked. So I have everything in there, and now I'm just going to start putting a bunch of images in there as well, and using that that style, or where's that style, that object style. So like I said before, you can use the images that I've provided, or you can go into Creative Commons or Getty or any of the stock sites and get your own. This is about plastics, so get some images about plastics. So I'm just going to start drawing some frames on the image layer, and just some image frames. You can do bleeds, that's fine. I can do a full bleed here, and don't worry about the folio right now. We're going to kind of deal with that later. And then for whatever reasons, it's not snapping to grids and guides, which is kind of irritating me. So I have to kind of zoom in a little bit, and just make sure I'm holding down the command the command or the on the PC, the control and the space bar to zoom in and out quickly. So just make sure that you're still kind of working with those columns. So I'm just going to start placing some images in there. And now you be the judge, you be the this is your creativity time to be creative. This is where you figure out where images you want them to go. And then so if instead of doing the fitting, I can just use my object style and create that automatic fitting here. And for whatever reason, it's giving me that plus symbol. So I'm going to do a right click, and I'm just going to apply and clear all, and that should work. So that automatically adds that text wrap. Now, if I want the fit to proportions, now I can start adding images wherever I like. I don't have to worry about the text because we know we have that automatic text wrap in there. So even if I want to add an image right here at the top, and still it's not snapping to the margin or the spread, which is irritating for whatever reason. So just make sure yours is. I'm going to, it's probably the same image, so that was a mistake. Get a different image. Oh, actually I don't want that Coca-Cola one there, get that one. And then image fitting, and it's still not doing that, so right click it, clear all for whatever reason. Command 0. Now it's not applying that text wrap because, did it do it? Oh no, it did. It's just bumping the text. Yeah, the frame is still there, but it's when I move it down, you can see the full. So yeah, there's a text wrap applied there. Now that does not look good to me. I want to see more of that image, so I'm just gonna maybe do something more like that, and maybe have that at the bottom to the bleed. That seems to be make a little bit more sense. Always to the bleed though, always to the bleed. And then once I do that, I can see that it's not to the width of the column nor the row. So Command 0 to go back to full screen, W to kind of preview it. I'm not going to worry about those photos right yet. Maybe I want another image up there. So press, I'm just toggling between W and Tab to kind of hide the windows and the frames. And then I'm zooming, making sure that that is to the width of the column. And then File, Play. So I'm just going to keep doing this for a little bit just to get a whole bunch of images in there. I don't know why it's not applying that style easily and quickly, but there you go. So pressing W and then Tab to get rid of all those windows and those margins. Okay, so you can add as many images as you want. You can put them wherever you want. I'm going to get a few more in here. What do we have to work with now? Now, I always suggest kind of having images either to the bleed, or if you don't want them to the bleed, you can always put them to the margin. And if you do that, do that down here, just make sure that they're, when we're working with images, oops, we don't, generally just kind of have them kind of floating in the middle of the page for no particular reason. For instance, something like this might not look particularly, right click. Well, actually that doesn't look too bad, but the image is kind of floating in the middle of the page, and if this text box was right down to the margins, it might make a little bit more sense. That doesn't look too particularly ill-designed, but there's always, making sure that I have the image frame selected. Having it grounded or aligned to the margin, it's probably going to make a lot more sense. And when we align to the margin, we can use our align window, which is a very handy align to margin, in this case left and bottom. And I can do that for this one as well. Do one over here. I might have used this one already, but right click, clear all, and just kind of make sure, zoom in and make sure that's aligned to the margin. Nope, it's not snapping to the margin for whatever reason. So when you're adding images, things to consider are going to be alignment, aligning this to the margins, or making sure that they're on the bleed. And still, I pressed just deselect it, and you can select it again. And what is happening here? That is the text frame, so I'm just going to lock that because it seems to not allowed me to grab it. Make sure that they're aligned to the margins. Control Z, 0 to zoom out. Now, so when you're adding a bunch of images, W to show everything again, just make sure that you're aligning to the margins, aligning to the edge of the page, using those columns and grids and guides to align to as well. And then the more images you add, and depending on the size of them, you're going to create either some issues with so when we start having a lot of images, right click, it's going to obviously start displacing text a bit. So if I start adding too many images, it's going to start oversetting the text. In this case, this text wrap is making this column just, these one word, single words just kind of pop out, which obviously does not look good. So we're going to have to, maybe that, I have the text layer, maybe that one needs to go, and then obviously now I have some overset text, so I have to resize this text frame. So you're just going to have to kind of consider, and we still haven't even done the font choices yet, so you're going to have to kind of reconsider as you work through it and as we start adding manipulating the text, how this is all going to have to kind of flow together. But I just wanted to put a bunch of images in there and get them aligned and get the text for the most part. There's still some overset text, but we're not going to worry about that quite yet, because in the next video I want to show you how to now start adding some paragraph styles so we can start formatting this text to make sure it looks beautiful and it is not Minion Pro. And let me just double check that I have everything I need. I'm not going to do this ignore text wraps things quite yet. But if there is ever, I'll remember to show you how to do that in another video. But for now, I'm just going to finish with that one, and then let's do the next video. Let's do some paragraph styles.